Now talking about the fact that, as you mentioned, we need to get, in your own words, a Democrat-run House, Senate, and White House. If we get that, if we accomplish this Herculean task to get over that threshold, what are two or three of the large progressive acts or policies you'd like to see implemented if and when the Democrats have the control of those three legs of the legislature?
So the first thing I would do, Karim, is the democracy reforms that I think are necessary to enable us to do these other ones, right? So, and the filibuster, protect the voting rights, overhaul and protect the voting rights act, expand it, and political gerrymandering, overhaul campaign finance reform, literally clean out our political system and make it more responsive to the overall will of our people, right? And if you do that, you realign some of the incentives within which Congress operates, and you actually make that, I think, a more little d democratic institution. On top of that, look, from my perspective here, you end up in a whole lot of competing priorities that are all essential, right? From changing the structural impacts of our economy that enables workers and families to be able to meet their own basic needs, to address the massive inequities we are seeing across our country that has been literally decades in the making, to strengthening our healthcare system, particularly our mental health system. If there's a lesson coming out of COVID-19, it's that your health, Karim, and my health are linked. We're not going to get through a pandemic if communities of Chelsea and Brockton are going to, we're gonna say it's okay if they continue to get sick, right? And so strengthening that system and ensuring that everybody gets access to the care that they need when they need it. Obviously, on top of that, criminal justice reform, immigration reform, climate. And the only thing I'd say about the list, because it is a big and ambitious list, is that I think what this moment requires of policymakers is to ensure that racial justice is at the heart of all of that, right? So racial justice, when we talk about an infrastructure bill, racial justice is at the center of it. When we talk about an economy, we recognize the fact that Boston is now the third most gentrified city in the nation, that we've got the worst commute in the country because people that actually run the city can't afford to live there, that the median net worth in 2018 was $247,000 for a white household and $8 for a black household and not a dime for a Dominican household because of access to a housing market. And because of the structural, even if people's wages were going up, which they hadn't been, but even if they were, that money goes right out the door and increased cost of rent, increased cost of healthcare, increased cost of childcare. The average, as you and I both know, the average cost of childcare from birth to 5 in Massachusetts is more than sending your kid to college year on year. That is literally, that's your down payment for a house. And what we've enabled our economy to shift, but haven't addressed the burdens that then comes on a younger generation of Americans that are wrestling with massive student loan payments, trying to figure out a way to get access to a housing market, trying to find a way to raise a family. The money's just not there. And so all of those disparities impact Black and brown communities at an even higher level than anyone else. And so making sure that racial justice is at the focus of those policies as we move forward.